Before we get into our lesson for today, I'll give you a little funny. And it says it was a son-in-law purchased a Christmas gift for his mother-in-law. And that purchase was a burial plot. And then the following year, the son-in-law didn't get the mother-in-law anything. And she was a little salty about it. And so she called him and she said, "How come you didn't buy me anything this Christmas?" And he said, "Well, you didn't utilize the one I bought you last Christmas. So why would I buy you anything else?" All right, self-love. And then in our textbook, Faith, chapter 10. So we continue on this journey of self-love, and we're faithing it all the way. We are also in the Lenten season, which began this past Wednesday, which was Ash Wednesday. And we celebrated and talked about it doing prayer and visioning on Wednesday. The word Lent during this season is another word for spring, which is derived from a verb meaning to lengthen. Lent comes in the spring when the days become noticeably longer. This is a season of fasting, praying, and repentance. A time, as we spoke of last week, activating our spiritual powers. Lent is a season of spiritual growth, a time for progressive unfoldment, when we blend and merge our minds with God's mind. The way is open for God to abundantly bless us, lift us into a higher, purer, more spiritual state of being, that Christ consciousness. Christ is in our midst as the God of our planet, as the great teacher. Let us place our concerns, our burdens, our challenges upon the Lord and enter the Lenten season expecting definite results. This season also leads us to Easter, the awakening and rising to the I am in the human. The first day of Lent, as I said, Ash Wednesday, where in the early church they sprinkled ashes on the heads of those who seek forgiveness, those who want to let go of past sins and error, mistakes, missteps. Self-love, as we have been speaking, is doing exactly that. Letting go of thoughts, things, people who don't serve our highest good. This past Thursday, the second day of Lent, is affirmation. It's when we realize our word is the working power of divine mind, where we realize our divine sonship and daughtership, self-love. And then this past Friday, the third day of the Lenten season, is our recognition of God, allowing God's attributes to be brought into expression by each of us. Again, self-love. Saturday, yesterday, is the I am consciousness, where we affirm, declare, and proclaim the Spirit of God within, the Christ presence as you, as me, self-love. And then the first Sunday, today, in this Lenten season, is the altar, which represents a fixed, definite assurance in consciousness, a place where we meet the Lord face to face, says Fillmore, where we are willing to give up the lesser for the greater. Self-love. Tomorrow, Monday, is the Garden of Eden, celebrating the power and intelligence, the power of thought bestowed upon the man and the woman, the garden being the substance of God. Partake of that substance. Give yourself some self-love. And if you want to follow the Lenten season, because it's 46 days leading up to Easter, for those that are able, you could go online and just put in the spiritual meaning of Lent, or pull out your book, by Charles Fillmore, Keep a True Lent. Now let us remember that self-love doesn't mean we are self-centered or only thinking of self. Self-love does not mean railroading others to get what you want. I bring that up because I have talked to several people who feel guilty of putting themselves and God first. You know, sometimes we only feel alive when we feel like we're doing something, and we wait for people to thank us, or we think they're going to love us more because we've done this, we've given them this. But this thing, this life is simply about taking care, good care of yourself in the best possible way. Self-love is owning our power in acting from a place of kindness and self-respect towards oneself. And that enables us to love others, having revitalized our own spirit. When we invoke self-love, we renew our spirit. We release negativity. We form thoughts of positivity, creativity, unity, prosperity, because of a better you and a better me. Self-love is not mirroring ourselves as families and others feel, what we hear, what they say, what they believe we are. Because if you look at the word believe, you can carve out in the middle of it that it's a lie. What other people think of you is none of your business. It's about what you think about yourself. Self-love is empowering yourself. Let us be at peace, allowing our life, our spirit to be still, as the song said. This time, I'm going to be still. I tell you, when our people play songs and when we talk, it is a culmination of spirit. It is that synchronicity, that coming together. So it's always the song and the word just lines up together. So allow yourself to be at peace, allowing our lives to be still, to be calm, not to jump off at news, events, challenges, diagnosis, changes in life. You, me, we are not the hall monitors anymore, checking folk on their behavior when we should always be checking our own behavior. God created us self-sufficient. Step into that. That is practicing self-love. Let us realize we are in spirit, perfect, whole, and complete. But our humanness may have and will have us to react instead of respond. Self-love is reminding us to not take life experiences too seriously. Above all, do not let them hurt you, for in reality, they are just experiences. Change our thinking about them, we then change their effect and the outcome of them. As we think, so are we. Let us show up in the world knowing our spiritual heritage, our birthright, living our purpose, our potential, not being afraid. And when you look at the word afraid, you can carve out those last three letters. It says aid. That means spiritual intervention. Also in that word is raid. And I say raid those thoughts and those experiences that try to hinder our spiritual growth. Yes, there is tragedy. Yes, there is change across our land. Yes, there is unexplainable circumstances. Yes, there is disease in many forms, inharmonious conditions in mind that it invades the body, invades our finances, our relationships, our businesses, our communities, our government, and the list can go on and on. The hate, the misplaced anger and hurts and regrets and revenge. And for instance, I felt that my mom, when she was alive, I felt that she was mean and did not care for me. Therefore, the feelings and thoughts I formulated, manifested, in my life, in my experiences, as self-rejection, not good enough, regrets, not belonging. Those thoughts start to eat at me, and there, Crohn's disease had a body to enter into. So when our mind is not on the power and the presence of spirit, they are on other things that will eventually feed on your body and your mind. And so we have to self-love ourselves. My mom did not have self-love. She did her best for me. And that's what we have to believe people did. They did their best based on what they have. And so now we have the opportunity to infuse and awaken to self-love. Because when we do that, we are better to ourselves and others. When challenges come, if circumstances are bad and we have to bear them, we must not make them a part of us. There is a power, a presence, an answer, a counselor, a solution, a peace, a comforter there within each of us. Allow our Creator to intervene when things are out of source. This theme, self-love, is allowing us to take a deeper look, self-investigation, no matter what it looks like. There is still a starting point right now. We can start to clean it up right now. Accept all that has transpired to this point and know that we are enough. So be enough to yourself. We don't have to prove or impress no one. We are that child that God called forth, perfect, always have been and always will be. Let us be courageous, for there is only one courage, and that is the courage to go on dying to the past, not collect it, not to accumulate it, and not to cling to it. For when we cling, we are unavailable to the present. Self-love is no longer being ruled, guided by fear, doubt, worry, for we know that love is the strongest power. When we choose love, we are free beings, able to improve the quality of our lives. When we embrace self-love, we give birth to that creativity, inspiration, and openness. It's already given, it's already our birthright, but because of life, people, and stuff, we suppress or overlook it. Self-love is not blaming, arguing, or fighting. Self-love is bringing harmony, balance, and peace to oneself. Self-love is accepting what was, finding growth and significance in the experience. Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them. That only creates sorrow. Let reality be reality. Let things flow naturally forward. God got it, and God got us. We were given all we need. We create our reality according to our beliefs. We are the creative energy that shapes and makes our world. There are no limitations to the self except those we believe. Our peace of mind comes from not wanting to change others, simply to live and to let live. There is no separation between us and God. We are divine expressions of the creative principle. We contain the potential for everything and anything within us. A writer says the real tragedy of man's life is what dies inside us while we still live. Self-love, when we desire a change, one must be that change before the change can take place. Whatsoever things you desire when you pray, believe that you have received them and you shall have them. Listen, each player must accept the cards life has dealt, But once they are in hand, each of us must decide how to play them in order to win. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Self-love is handling any stress, anxiety, how we deal with them, question their truthfulness, and then turn it around to spirit, to the presence, to the stillness, to love. Our light shines automatically. We don't have to work or fight for it. Just let God be God in you. We, in self-love, move from self-doubt to certainty, from limits to limitless, sickness to wholeness, ignorance to wisdom. Self-love is forsaking anger and regret, moving from vengeance to forgiveness. And it goes on and on. When we turn from allowing that humanness and the world and people and stuff and challenges, when we learn to move from that to the spirit that's within us, that light, it ain't a little light, this big light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let us put emphasis on respect for oneself, acceptance of one's flaws, as well as our virtues, our gifts, and our talents. When we don't learn to love ourselves, depression, loneliness, bitterness, anxiety, isolation, unhappiness has room to move in. Self-love is the practice of understanding, embracing, and showing compassion for yourself, which then gives us the ability to truly give those qualities to others. Self-love involves nurturing our entire being. That means taking care of ourselves on the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual level. To even open the door to experience our full spiritual potential, we must get to truly know and love oneself. All of it. God loves us unconditionally, no strings attached, with an open door policy, as well as open spiritual arms. So in order to be a positive presence in this world, in your family, in your community, on the job, in our ministries, in service, in order to take care for others in an authentic, loving way, we must first focus on self. We must first dedicate a large portion of time to our own healing, our own joy, awareness, and understanding. A person who loves the self strives to be the best they can be, no settling for less. A person who loves themselves are willing, that's our Matthew consciousness, to explore themselves. The good, the not so good, the ugly, only to uncover the beautiful. That diamond in the rough, it has to go through the same process. When they get a diamond and they crack that crust and they press it and they shine it, there it is, beautiful. And so it is with us, uncovering and loving ourselves. Just chip away at all of the stuff that doesn't allow you to demonstrate the beauty of God that's within you. Chip it away and then shine it up. And you do that by meditation, by prayer, by loving yourself, by being still, by listening to that still small voice that's telling you, you are perfect, you are whole, you complete, you are mine. This requires, as this teaching asks of the student, to do inner work, some soul searching, mental work on the so-called flaws and imperfections that only when we're not demonstrating our divinity. That's the only time they pop up. Self-love, family, may require changing our diet, reading more positive information, the intention on having a more restful sleep pattern. Self-love is ridding ourselves of low self-esteem. Yes, I know I'm talking with mostly a senior audience, but what does age have to do with peace health, wholeness, unity, service, works, and ministry. Get acquainted with any of these. They don't dwell in age. Mm-hmm. Making space to be alone. Yes, we've had to do it over this last year, but being still and knowing is about solitude and enjoying it, unwinding, relaxing, and reflecting. Being still gives us insight and perspective, the opportunity to establish harmony in our lives. Mm-hmm. Self-love is to meditate. Meditation assists in self-awareness, to hear our Creator's instructions, our Creator's answers, solutions, receiving our healing and our blessings. Meditation is a silent, potent practice with endless benefits. Self-love is trusting our intuitive nature. When we say something told me, that's our unconscious mind guiding that ocean of wisdom and understanding and insight. Intuition is that inner guide we all have. Intuition is a manifestation of this vast untapped potential within us. Mm-hmm. Learning to trust that still small voice in the doors and the windows of heaven that has opened. Be true to self. Self-love. Self-love is supporting the well-being of nature. A writer says, all of life is interconnected. That harm, the thoughts and words and acts we do to others always come back to us and will come in all different forms. So when we love ourselves, we are that light that shines. Self-love is doing some exercise every day. Walk around your dwelling place 10 times. If you are confined to a chair, lift those arms, raise those legs, let your body know you care. I can care about you and for you. I can pray and treat with you, but your body will get a much better signal from your consciousness. Self-love is the letting go of past misfortune. You know, if I woulda, coulda syndrome, all we have is right now. If we are to love ourselves, let us forgive ourselves. No regrets. Spirit, Father, Creator, God, infinite intelligence, holds nothing, for it is ever creating something new. So who are we to hold anything? Let us be open for newness. That's self-love. Be gentle with you. You are, I am, said God, most precious. It's okay to be just who you are. Just pray, just affirm, just study, just vision, just meditate, just push through. And when we do that, then we awaken. Have faith in you. Know that the thing itself is you. It is me. Ernest Holmes says in chapter 10, the thought of faith molds the undifferentiated substance and brings into manifestation the thing which was fashioned in mind. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how we bring our dreams, desires to pass. Spiritual substance is all around us, waiting to be formed. That's where I ask and it shall be given. That's where I seek and I shall find. That's where I knock and the door shall be open. I speak it. I look through my spiritual eyes. I knock, the wisdom of God opens its doors. In Psalms 8, which I think it is beautiful, majestic, if you will, that poetry, it displays the greatness of God as well as the magnificence, dignity, and glory of the human being. And it says, O Lord, how excellent is thy name in all the earth. Who has set thy glory above the heavens? Out of the mouths of babes and sucklings hast thou ordained strength because of thine enemies, that thou mightiest still the enemy and the avenger. And that could be dis-ease, that could be sadness. Whatever that enemy is enemy. When I consider thy heavens, the work of thy fingers, the moon and the stars, which thou hast ordained. What is man that thou art mindful of him, and the son of man that thou visitest him? For thou hast made him a little lower than the angels, and hast crowned him with glory and honor. Thou madest him to have dominion over the works of thy hands. Thou hast put all things under his feet. all sheep and oxen, yea, and the beast of the field, the fowl of the air, and the fish of the sea, and whatsoever passeth through the paths of seas. O Lord, how excellent is thy name on all the earth. So God has crowned us. We are already all that we need to be. We just need to walk into it, move into it, think into it, faith into it, trust it. Self-love is breaking the barriers of anything less than our being joyful, healthy, and prosperous. Khalil Gibran says this: doubt and worry is a pain too lonely to know that faith is its twin brother. Did you hear what I said? Doubt and worry is a pain too lonely to know that faith is its twin brother. So when we can move the negative, that which doesn't promote our highest good, when we can move that out the way, the sun shines within us and all over us. We can bask in the light of God. As a progressive and evolving being, we are where we are that we may learn, that we may grow. And as we learn the spiritual lessons, which all life holds within it, they pass and new ones come. Self-love is each of us being accountable for one's self. Quit looking at your neighbor. Pluck that plank out your own eye so that you may see the beauty of spirit. You may see the beauty of God within you. Self-love is recognizing that right where I am, who I am, because I am, is because of God. We are most precious. We are on purpose for a purpose, a divine purpose. So look within and embrace yourself. When you wake up every morning, hug yourself. When you go to sleep every night, speak peace and joy and comfort over yourself. Self-love is the Spirit of God within us demonstrating through and as us. Self-love, let's faith it, let's faith it, let's faith through it. I love you all. I thank you all. Peace and abundant blessings.